race fans. This is Larry Supermouth Huffman, AMA Hall of Fame announcer, and this isn't Supercross. It's Wednesday! And you're watching Bay Fishing with Roman and Brian. Stand by while the boys teach secrets of bay bass fishing with Roman on his 6-second nitro-burning pedal drive kayak, and Brian in his Cool Baits high-speed dragster boat that he takes out every Sunday. Be there!
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. What up, Brian? Where are you at?
Hey, right here.
I don't see you, but I hear you. Give me a second. Stay tuned. Let's see. We got. Come on. Let me get that sorted out in a second. All right. So Brian's here with us, guys. We're gonna do a episode today, which is San Diego Fishing Explained. If you're new to San Diego fishing or fishing in the bays, you're in luck because today Brian's gonna spill the beans. There we go. I think I got you. There he goes. Yeah, we're back. There you are. Say hello to everybody, Brian.
Hello, everybody.
All right, let's do a quick shout out to the first comment of the day, and that goes to Mr. Peter86 reclaiming his title as the first comment of the day. We're gonna give the first like to Mr. Oscar636.
Let's go, Oscar.
How's it going, Brian?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good.
Super excited tonight because I get to talk about bay fishing, and
I see Dave Rage in the chat. I see Zach Riggs. What up, Zach? See Mr. Eric Klein. Got Salty Dangler in the house. The judge is in here. Carl Black. Let's go, Carl. Oscar636. Yoke is in here. Todd is in here. What up, Todd? Rick Summerfruit. What up, Rick? Welcome. First timer.
Rick?
First timer. What up, guys? Dang, Rick, you're in for a treat today. Real quick, guys, any question is valid. Feel free to ask questions about fishing in the chat. There's no such thing as a beginner question, as a bad question, because if you're wondering something, somebody else might be wondering the same thing, and we can help them too just by you stepping up and asking your question. So again, today we're going to focus strictly on bay fishing, and in this case, San Diego bay fishing. So if you're on your kayak fishing from shore, this is going to help you out. Cool?
Cool.
All right. So first order of business, the way we like to start the show, besides shouting out the people in the chat, if you're new here, say hello. Again, everybody say what up to, where'd he go? Rick. And first order of business, once we get the intros done, is to pop that top, because this is Fishy Hour after all, which means it's kind of like happy hour. We're chilling. You don't have to drink an alcoholic beverage, but you do have to drink something that makes you, put you in the mood to hang out and talk about fishing. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best pop top you ever heard in your life, 1 being the worst, rate this pop top.
Coming in with the LaCroix. Let's see what this thing does. Special cup tonight. I'm gonna pour this whole thing.
Jeez.
It's gonna be a lot of talking. I need a full drink.
All right, put your scores in the chat, and after you put your scores,
15. Wow. All right, Benji, what's up?
What's up, David? Welcome. What's up, Benji?
Hey, David.
Once you put your score in the chat, go ahead and let us know what you're having as a refreshing beverage tonight in the chat. A confusion. I haven't kayak fished since my last spotty bolt session in July. Dang. What up, Eric? What up, Chet? Welcome. All right. Scale 1 to 10. All right.
9.4. Thank you.
Once you put what you're having as a tasty beverage refreshment, let me know what you think about this pour. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best pop top you ever heard in your life, 1 being the worst, rate this pop top.
ZB, of course. Cheers, buddy. And
cheers, everybody.
I know you're a huge football fan, but did you know football starts tomorrow night? First game of the season. Chiefs versus Detroit. Let's go, Mahomes.
Who do you root for?
Oh, gee, let me guess. Let me think. Who do I root for?
Let me know who your team is in the chat. Who's your football team?
Yeah, since the Chargers left, I've been a Chiefs fan since 1996. So I'm not like jumped on the bandwagon once they started winning Super Bowls and got Patrick Mahomes. I've been through it, guys. 10. What's up, Chet?
Let's
Judges in the
go.
house. All right, guys. I'm going to go through these announcements pretty quick because we got a lot to discuss today about San Diego Bay. If you're here, San Diego Bay Explained, you guys saw the thumbnail tonight. Me and Roman are going to discuss all types of fishing at San Diego Bay, from riprap to grass to drop-offs to structure to every type of way. And guess what? Some people are not going to like this, but I'm going to go over specific kind of zones and break them down for you. So I got about 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 hot like zones in San Diego Bay that I'm going to show you guys,
All the
especially
secrets.
you guys that are new to San Diego Bay, maybe give you a little accelerated
That's what I'm
push.
saying, dude. Rick, SD Kayak Anglers member, let's go.
All
Rick,
right,
you're in for a
little
treat.
push so you guys know where to start out, launch your kayak, launch your boat, etc. First announcement. This is a huge one. Are you ready? Me, Roman, and the Erics, Judge and Klein, are going to be in Rancho Leonero in 2 days. We're leaving, Friday morning?
Friday morning.
First thing Friday morning. So are you ready, Roman?
Yeah, kind of. I think I'm ready. I'm packed and I'm ready mentally, but I think I'm getting over a cold.
That's all right. Getting over is good.
So I'm just trying to sleep as much as possible between now and then, and hopefully I'll be ready to go.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I told Roman before we came on, I was like, dude, I've been watching like every Rancho Leonero YouTube video I can find. Mainly, I've got one fishing goal. And I'm assuming you're going to join us, but me and the Erics are going to jump out on a kayak one day and kayak. And my goal is to get a rooster fish from my kayak out there.
That's cool.
I'm going to fish till I drop till I get that thing. I really want to get one of those. So it's a bucket list fish for me, the rooster fish. And I think I have a good opportunity. And it seems like they're right there on shore. So
I hear like in the mornings or in the
pointers
evenings.
from the locals and where to get them.
Trying to pack a minimal amount of lures, but it's tough, says Eric.
Tell me, Eric. I wanted to bring more than 4 rods and reels, but you can only bring 4, so stop.
Ironfish says Raiders. All right. Benjamin says Ohio State Buckeyes. Let's go.
Nice.
I'm Team 31. I root for all the teams minus the new LA team.
That sounds like a fantasy football player. Fantasy football sometimes ruins it because you're rooting for players and not teams. Kind of.
Trying to pack a minute. Okay.
Do you have a fishing goal for Rancho Leonero, Roman?
I just want to come back in one piece with a cooler full of wahoo meat.
Oh, wahoo!
Wahoo fillets. Because I didn't get tuna here. I didn't get yellowtail here. I didn't get dorado here. I just want wahoo. Wahoo.
I don't plan on bringing anything back. I'm gonna probably release almost everything I catch. So
I'm keeping all the wahoo that you catch. So just FYI.
That's fine. Okay, so we got the Rancho Leonero trip, guys. That means next Wednesday we will not be on the show because we will be getting back on our flight that evening. So we won't have time to prep for that. So we'll see you the following Wednesday, and that Wednesday is September 20th. And guess what? The pickle run's coming up, guys. October 7th. If you don't know what the pickle run is, you new guys in chat or kayakers, our group, the MMFC, meets at Dana Landing in Mission Bay, and we paddle our kayaks or pump them or whatever you call it, all the way down to San Diego Bay, Shelter Island. So it takes us all day. We go bay to bay. We travel as a big group. We have a couple support boats out there, motherships out there to help us out if we need them. But if you're interested in that, it's a free event. We just ask that you be capable of doing that trip. It's a 12-hour trip, 12-hour trip. So make sure you're ready for something like that. But next week, or not, on September 20th, 2 weeks from now, we're going to do a show on how to prepare for the pickle run. So tune in September 20th if you're going on the pickle run or you just want to hear about it. And that's going to be a fun event. I think last year we had, about 15 kayaks?
15 people,
at least.
Yeah.
2 motherships?
2 boats. Colton C, what up? What fish will you catch on the pickle run? Oh, you can catch rockfish. You can catch yellowtail if we see them. You can catch white sea bass, I guess, if you fish in the kelp on the way down.
Calico fishing's really good right now.
But
sea bass.
Last time people caught mostly just like calicos and rockfish, right? We didn't see any yellowtail.
It's a mixed bag. This year though, it's kind of weird. I mean, you might get lucky and get
warm enough,
one of these dorado, maybe. I don't know, maybe. But normally the rockfish, calicos, sand bass, maybe a halibut. Depends on where what level you're fishing at. You're fishing on the bottom. What are you fishing? Bait, lures.
Yeah, it's more of an experience, dude. Like you're out there with a bunch of people in the kayaks, and Captain Dan's gonna have his boat out for support with like food and mini pies and drinks, and Eric will probably be out there on his boat as well, and you'll just be fishing with a bunch of cool people, hanging out there floating in the ocean in a fleet of kayaks, and it's fun, dude. You can make the trek from Mission Bay down to San Diego Bay, and it's like something you can say, yeah, once I fished all the way from San Diego Bay to from Mission Bay to San Diego Bay. And it's kind of one of those things you just tell your friends about. It's a cool thing to talk about, and it's a little tough because you kind of have to keep moving, but at the same time, it's rewarding. It's fun to get it done, and the camaraderie is awesome, especially towards the end. If coach is available, he usually set up the grill at the landing place, and we just kind of hang out while we wait for the cars to kind of go back and forth and shuttle people to get all their stuff. It's really fun.
It is, and we'll get into it next show. But yeah, and also we have a thing called Discord where we get on our Discord and we're on our headset. So even if they're a little far away, we can hear the stoke of everybody catching fish or what's going on. So
what I have been working on, Brian? It's real quick. Solar setup for my kayak so I can charge stuff when we're out there.
Nice.
So
what are you gonna charge?
Like my phone.
Oh, okay.
Just
cool.
keep
I thought
it
you meant like a Bixby or something.
Oh no. Maybe.
That's cool. Okay, so Pickle Run coming up, show coming up September 20th. SBS tournament, come on, guys. That is in the weekend when we get back. SBS championship round. Us SBS guys have been fishing all year, and this has come down to the top 15 anglers, which, believe it or not, me and Salty made it in. The top 15 anglers are going to be fishing, so cheer for your favorites in the SBS. I'll let you know who wins that championship, but I'm cheering for Chad and Al, Frank and Dale, me and Salty, Cash and Tom, and Brett and Keith, all spotty bowlers.
It's a lot of people.
And hope a spotty bowler is going to take home the SBS championship round. So let's do this, guys. Big money in that one,
Yeah, Dave. I carry it like inside the kayak for the launch, and after it launches, I deploy it. That way, it's like you can have a little bit of extra power.
Are you going to bring your Bixby on the Pickle Run?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet you are.
Just for that final stretch.
I've got an agreement with the judge. He's just gonna pull me by a rope.
I'm not gonna bring the Bixby. I'm just gonna bring a grappling hook. And when I see Yokenator cruise by, I'll be like, all right, I'm good.
Shout out to Yokenator's kayak. He's got an Old Town with a built-in, I don't know if it's called a Bixby or a trolling motor or whatever, but that thing made it last year, bay to bay, and the battery did not die. So that's a true test.
All right, let's go.
All right, guys. So let's move on to our main topic. I'm going to go to a screen share here, Roman.
Yay.
You're ready to boogie?
I'm ready. But first, before we jump into this epic episode, I want to remind you to please hit that like button and let's get right into it. Let's go. Ready? I see you sharing. Here we go. I don't even know what to play as far as like sounds go.
Hit a theme music. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Oh, we had that one. We had this one. I can't find your screen. There it is. San Diego Bay explained.
I have a ski rope, so maybe I'll throw it in the judge's boat. Okay, so guys, tonight we're going to talk about San Diego Bay. So something about San Diego that's super special that I think we do have two world-class fisheries. I know we do. We have Mission Bay and San Diego Bay. And both of them are, to me, super special. Mission Bay, to me, is like a day where you go out to a lake. It's 5 mile per hour zone, most of it. So if you're in a kayak or a boat, or you're actually just fishing, you're not out there pleasure boating. Mission Bay is a great lake. I call it Mission Lake because it's like fishing a lake. It's really shallow. The deepest parts of that are like 29 feet, but most of it's 10 to 15 feet. So we got Mission Lake, which is an awesome fishery. When you go to Mission Bay, you pretty much know what you're going to get at Mission Bay. You know, you're going to be fishing for your halibuts, your spotties, occasional calico, stingrays. There's not like a huge variety. Most people that go to Mission Bay are targeting either the halibuts or the spotted bay bass. And that is great for Mission Bay. Mission Bay is my favorite bay. But just south of Mission Bay, we've got this big bay, San Diego Bay. And guys, we are living in a time right now that I think is a time we're going to talk about as being the heyday, or the glory days of fishing. First of all, San Diego Bay is free to launch. I don't know any other bay. You go up north and those bays charge money to launch, or you go to a local lake, it's $30-$40 to launch your boat or whatever you're doing. So, I mean, we're living in a time now where we can go down to the bay any day, 24 hours a day, and we can launch our boats or our kayaks for totally free. So let's enjoy that. We got it. Sooner or later, I know they're going to come up with some kind of fee or charge for it. Great things about San Diego Bay. San Diego Bay. Let me switch my screen here, Roman, to a different slide. Oh, by the way, there's a aerial of it from 1930, which
that's cool.
100, like almost 100 years ago, right? But before they totally dredged it, it was like a salt flat, I guess, and they've dredged it, for turn it into a port of San Diego. But they've created basically created this whole road and the now naval base over here. But it's a pretty cool just to think just 100 years ago, it's just, there's no downtown there. You know what I mean? It's just
like farmland.
Yeah. I wonder what spotties were like 100 years ago.
Weren't they created by science?
What, the 1980s?
It was just like a
anyway, that was a pretty cool photo to give you a throwback of what San Diego Bay looked like in the 30s. San Diego Bay is 22 square miles. Average depth, 21 feet. Maximum depth is 60 feet. But I know some spots that are maybe a little deeper than that, right in front of that submarine pin. It's a couple spots maybe, but that's pretty much the maximum depth. To give you comparison, San Diego Bay is 22 square miles, and Mission Bay is about 6.5 square miles. So San Diego Bay is a beast. There's a lot of San Diego Bay that I think goes unexplored. Like, especially in the kayak community. I don't think a lot of you guys go down south. It's just too epic of a journey. You can get down there, but you've got to start down there really. Because to cross San Diego Bay, it's just not possible in a kayak. It's just too far.
Yeah, you have to decide to fish down there.
Yeah, different style down there. You're right. There are some areas in San Diego Bay that are off limits. Here's a map of them. All the red are areas that are not supposed to be fished. You got your MPA down here, right off the point right there. We all know about that. That's on your GPS, it'll show you that. I think it goes maybe 2 miles out. I'm not sure. Check your GPS or check Fish Legal to show you where that MPA starts. And then you've got a bunch of military zones. This red area right here is where the submarine pin is. There's an ammo dock directly across from it. You're not supposed to fish there. It has a sign, I think 100 feet out. And this yellow area, you can fish there, but if there's a military practice going on or they tell you to get out of there, you got to leave. So, and then this red area over here is where the aircraft carriers are parked. That's got like a floating barrier where you can't even go in there, but they usually have an armed boat watching that. And then you're not supposed to fish over by the Midway. And then, of course, our whole military boats are all parked over here where they're working on them, building them. So that area right there, and then across them, there's no military area. So if you're new, there are a few areas. Check out this map. You can Google it, and it'll show you where you're not allowed to fish. Other than that, I don't know. There's a weird spot way back here in the back of that Spanish landing, but not sure what that is. So there's some of your zones. Tonight we're going to be talking about these things: drop-off structure, docks, pylons, rip-wrap, shallow bridges. You like that picture?
That's perfect.
Points, dead grass. So we talked about this kind of stuff on Mission Bay, and we're going to talk about this tonight too. And these are some terms that if you're new that we use. I'll try to explain them a little bit, but these are some terms you might hear some bay fishermen say, like, I'm fishing the docks or the grass. And if you don't know what those are, keep listening. We're going to try to describe these different types of fishing. All right, first up, we got big areas. The region, there's that Jack in the Box. Couldn't get that out there. The big areas. So when I say big areas, I'm mainly talking about the wider areas, like past the Coronado Bridge here, out in front of the Midway. And the reason I want to bring those up is because way out here in the jetty, I'm going to show a tide chart here real quick. Something you need to be aware of is what the tide is before you go out. This actually is a big tide swing from 9:55 a.m. to looks like 5 p.m. You got a 6-foot tide swing. And what that does is basically all this bay and all this water in this bay is going to be rushing out or in the bay, depending on which way the tide's going. And when you get to these narrow areas out front in this jetty, especially in a kayak, Roman, it can be like a river flooding through there. So before you go out, before you decide where you're going to fish, if you're thinking about fishing in the jetty, check that tide. Make sure it's not like a 6-foot tide swing to where you're going to be you're going to need 4 ounces to get down to the bottom, because that can affect your fishing a lot. And if it is a big tide swing like that, I always recommend either placing yourself in the docks or going to these big wide areas, because there's not that extreme amount of current. Now, if it's like a 3 or 4 foot tide swing, you're probably pretty safe. But on those extreme tide swings, check that out before you go out. And there's also a thing called slack tide. I'm sure you guys have been listening. Slack tide is usually the slower time of fishing. It's the time where the fish are kind of just gone into their hole and are chilling, and they're waiting for the tide to turn, or to stir all the bait up, or stir anything up that's on the bottom, to watch it go by and snag it up. So for me, the best time to fish is between I would say the first hour after the tide swings. There's usually a good time window when the bite's hot and you're in the right spot. Those fish are going nuts. If cut me off, Roman, if anybody is asking questions in chat.
No, they're just talking about random stuff. Talking about pickle run. Oh, wait. Nope, never mind. Yeah, we're good. If you guys have any questions, guys, I am checking the chat, so you guys ask, and I will bring it up to Brian.
And the way I'm going to start, I'm just going to go with these general areas right here, like big areas, grassy areas, and stuff like that. And then once I get through these to explain what those are, then I'm going to break down the actual 8 fishing spots that are very popular in San Diego Bay. So that'll be near the midsection of this right here. So, all right, check your tides, grassy areas. So Mission Bay, we know that as being really grassy. That's one of my favorite styles of fishing, is Mission Bay through the grass. But San Diego Bay, because it's so deep in so many spots and there's a lot of docks, there is grass in San Diego Bay. There's some out in front of some of the points over here. There's some right at the end of the jetty on the backside of the wall. The whole entire South Bay has a ton of grass anywhere I've highlighted. And then usually down this center channel, there's some areas where you can find some grass. Of course, back by Spanish Landing in front of the fuel dock, there's some grass. But when I say grass, I'm talking about this stuff right here. It's eelgrass. We're super lucky because any of the bays I fish up north doesn't seem to grow up there. I don't know. I know in San Diego, I'm not sure. In Mission Bay in particular, we actually had they actually planted it, are trying to revive it and bring it back, and the grass died off, and they've tried to they've actually gone in and planted it to try to make the grass take off again. San Diego Bay, it's eelgrass, and if you can find eelgrass when the tide is moving, there's a good chance there's spotties in there. Anytime you're fishing in grass, let your bait fall all the way to the bottom. When you pull your bait in, if you look at the grass, if it's bright green and clean, that's a good spot to be. There's a good chance there's going to be halibuts or spotties down there. If you're pulling up moss or dead grass, it's probably going to be a desert down there. So move on. There's good grass and there's bad grass. Make sure you check that out when you're fishing. Dead grass, get out of there. Mossy stuff, get out of there. I mean, there might be a fish in there, but if you can find that green stuff, that's where they like to hang out. Riprap, talked about this many times. Basically, that's the shoreline, all those crushed rocks you see. It's erosion control. It's been put in there artificially to control erosion. It lines a lot of the bays anywhere there's not docks. Usually there's a riprap against it. Riprap looks like this. There's Coach fishing from the shore. Riprap looks like this. And if you look at the shoreline, if you see that coming down at a 2-to-1 slope, whatever it's doing above the water, that's the contour normally it's doing all the way to the bottom. So you can kind of judge on where the toe of that riprap stops. And a lot of those fish, that's a good place for them to take shelter, to hide in the shade, or be a good ambush spot. So if you see riprap, that's a good place to start fishing. I would recommend getting close as you can to it and hitting a crankbait, hitting something where you can bounce off those rocks and see if you can get a fish out of the toe of that slope. That's a place you can fish in current, slack tide, anytime. The riprap's usually pretty hot. Here's some riprap over by the shell. I know there's fish there. Me and Leonard have caught many fish over there. If you guys see riprap with this on it, if you throw A-rigs and you see that and you pull up that with your A-rig, that's a 10-minute journey to try to get that off. So that is moss. You want to stay away from that stuff. Sometimes it's just, I don't know if it's a certain time of the year when the water heats up, that stuff just goes crazy. But if you see that stuff, it's pretty likely the fishing's not going to be good and you're just going to spend in your whole time pulling that junk out of your lure. So avoid the mossy riprap. Did I see a question in chat there?
It's
Oh, spotty at best. Maybe we should have you on to describe what it's
Iron
like.
Fish has a question. He says, what's the cause of it not growing, you think? I think he's talking about the eelgrass.
I don't want to say pollution or something in the water, but
it just needs.
so think of this Iron Fish, and I think it was 2008. They dredged Mission Bay, right? They went through there and they dredged it because it was getting shallow. Eventually the bays will, become too shallow for us to use. So naturally they have to eventually sometime dredge them. And then I think it was 2008. They went through it and it was heartbreaking. I was there watching all this going on, and they were just dredging sand. They had a barge, and they were reaching down, grabbing sand, putting in the barge, and hauling it wherever they hauled it. And that really did a number on everything. Killed the eelgrass, and I think it took a long time for it to recover from that.
Yeah. Also on that, when you change the depth, you change how much the light can get down there. So the deeper you get, the less light you get. So the eelgrass needs a certain amount of light. So once it gets a little bit shallower, it'll start probably grow back. So it's basically it's about light penetration. So it's not
Dave
global
mentioned
warming.
temperature.
Right.
I think all of that probably has to do with it. Temperature, light, and it's a seasonal grass too. It dies, it grows back. That's just the way it works. Just like wintertime when that water gets cold, it may die off and it comes back. All right. Next up, we got drop off. So if you want to know what a drop off is, if you have a kayak or a boat with the sonar, fish finder, whatever you got, it's a great advantage because you can look at that. Me and Rome call this video game fishing. And when you're going around the bay, you're looking for different elevation changes. You can see right here, this is 19 feet to here, and the bottom of it looks like it's about, 29 feet. So maybe about a 10-foot drop off. Anytime there's a drop off like that, if the current on this screen is going right to left, those fish are going to get behind this drop off. So it's a little more comfortable for them. They're not fighting the current constantly. And also it's a good ambush point when something is coming over that drop off. They'll go up there and get it. Fish can be on the top of the drop off or the bottom of the drop off. So if you have sonar, look for any type of elevation change. And usually you'll see fish down there. This is a great, here's another example of it. Here's extreme. I think this is Mission Bay. So you can see the eelgrass right here, and then it's a straight drop off right there. I don't know why I took that picture, but check for the drop offs, guys. They're always good, top or bottom, but fish both and figure that out. Video game fish if you got one of those things. Jetty, just like Mission Bay, San Diego Bay has a jet. I call it a jetty. I think everybody calls it jetty, but San Diego Bay has an outlet to the ocean. We call that the jetty. And you'll find a lot of the different species in there. I think this year Judge caught a yellowtail in the jetty. You got sharks in there. You got all kinds of weird stuff that comes in from the ocean, hangs out in that jetty and feeds certain times of the day and then leaves. So the jetty is a deeper part of the bay. It's the exit of the bay. So the water conditions there can be a little different than the south side of the bay. But it's a very popular. They got the bait barge over there. You got the cable crossing. You got all kinds of zones to fish in there. We're going to go over those too. But if you hear the word jetty, that's what we're talking about. It's the exit of the bay to the ocean. And to me, that's probably the most mixed bag of any part of any of our bays is right at that jetty. Because you don't know what you're going to get in there. I have horn sharks, halibuts, sometimes spotties, but I would say more, you want to call them exotic fish of the bay?
Uh-huh.
Barracudas, So that is the jetty. Moving on from that. Oh, here's a picture of the kind of the beginning of the jetty. I wouldn't really consider this a jetty, but ABC Rocks, popular spot. We're going to go over that. And here's what the jetty looks like. This is our last year's pickle run, by the way. Us coming in at the end. And that is what the jetty looks like from the outside. If you've never been to San Diego Bay, it's a beautiful bay, especially coming in, seeing the lighthouse up there. I seriously think that we have the best two bays in Southern California. I've been to them all, I think, most of them. And San Diego Bay and Mission Bay are beautiful, guys. You don't realize until you go to a different bay that we have actually parks on the shoreline. It's not lined with, millionaires' houses and their docks. We have a lot going for us in San Diego as far as our bays go, guys. Structure could be anything. Structure could be rocks underwater. Another thing you find with your fish finder. If you guys are cruising around the bay and you see these right here, these are the channel markers. You got a red one and you got a green one. And there's a cable that goes directly down from those, and it's anchored to, I think, a gigantic piece of concrete. So if you're totally new to the bay and you have no idea where structure is and you want to fish some structure, these are some good spots to start. You'll see these floating around throughout the bay, and you go up to those and drop vertically on them, and they'll have fish holding on those sometimes. So if you're new to San Diego Bay, don't sleep on those. They can hold big fish down there. Sand bass, they're usually in the deeper areas because they're markers for the big boats to channel through, the channel markers.
Yeah.
But don't sleep on those. Check it out. Drop on those. See if you can catch fish on those. If you're new to the bay and you don't have any spots yet. Sea lions. More structure, the jetty going out. There's an entire wall of riprap that extends out past our jetty, and it goes all the way out to the ocean. And I fished this many times, and it's usually a mixed bag of calicos, sand bass, occasional spotties, and halibuts. But that's some really good structure too. If you're willing to paddle out to the end of the jetty, you'll see these markers that look like this, and there's actually submerged riprap under there. And you can catch everything out there: rockfish, sculpin, and that's a good place if you're new to San Diego Bay to start too. If you can make that journey out to it, it's a fun spot to fish. Just watch out for when it's like I said, that 6-foot tide swing. Might not want to fish that then. Look for a lower tide swing and go out and check that out too. I'm showing this picture right here because in San Diego Bay, we actually have a bait barge. I know a lot of the guys up in LA don't have that. We have a bait barge. And if you're looking at this right here, this is the ammo dock. You go straight from it. It's kind of a bad picture, but the bait barge is right over here. That's open. I think bait barge is open 24 hours, but that is definitely a good kayaking hotspot, especially at night. I know like the Yakuzas, the Yak Ninjas, the MMFC members, all of us like if we talk about night fishing, that's usually the spot we're heading towards. The bait barge is well lit. It's got a lot of lights on it, and the night fishing there can be pretty exciting. Sand bass, halibut spotties, all the above out there. But let me show you one more picture with the bait barge. If you've never been to San Diego Bay, this is what it looks like. I've been out there where people are like, where's the bait barge? Where's the bait barge? And once you see it, you'll know it's full of sea lions. It stinks. It's this long
It's
floating
loud,
top.
it's stinky. But
Yeah,
it's fishy.
position yourself with the wind correctly, and you might not get that smell. Here's what it looks like too. So we got a live bait barge out there. Good fishing. If I was going to fish that, I would fish, definitely always on the bottom for me. Vertical fishing, cast and retrieve, everything seems to work out there. It's usually about 35 feet deep there, 30 feet, something like that.
Yep.
So plan for that depth. But the bait barge is definitely, if you're new to the San Diego Bay, a good place to paddle out and give it a shot. Let's see all kinds of cool stuff out there.
Zach says the bait barge and I have a love-hate relationship. Carl says, "Oh, the smell."
The weirdest thing is they have this in San Diego. They have this tour group, and it's I don't know how to describe. It's like a bus, but it's also a boat. And we go out to the bait barge all the time, and we see the sea lions, and we're like, oh, whatever, get out of here. Not fishermen are not exactly friendly with sea lions. They're not exactly happy about all of them. But man, you never see kids and tourists react so. They get so happy when they see those sea lions. This bus/boat goes. I'm gonna say every single hour has a bus full of people that go out, and all it does is go out to the bay and does a lap around the bait barge. Everybody sees the seals and cheers, and then they head on in. So I don't know.
And sometimes,
this is a tourist destination, I guess, too.
The highlight of the whole seal tour is that sometimes around Halloween, Zach Riggs will be out there with his Michael Myers mask and make the whole trip like 100 times better. You got this, Zach. We're doing that this year.
Yeah. A Halloween bait barge night outing. That sounds cool. Let's do it.
With costumes.
Yeah, costumes are mandatory. But bait barge, like I said, at night, especially a good spot. If you're new to San Diego Bay, check it out. Watch out, though. There's a cable from the live bait building there you see across the other building. I don't know if it's a power cable or something, but there's something really big down there, and it must have 10,000 lures on it. Roman, would you please get your swim fins on and dive down there and make a video
I'll get killed
of all my A-rigs and all my cool baits and all my Smish Fish Goja, every jig that's on whatever that is down there. This must be I envision like a gigantic ball of jigs down there. How many of you lost to the bait barge, Roman?
Oh, not A-rigs. I've lost a lot of like the ones that you jig down because you're drifting as you jig, and then like you eventually catch that cable.
Yeah, there's $1 million down there. Anybody that wants to go down. I don't think they're allowed to dive there, right?
I hate when you finally like have like your bait tied on and it's like fresh and you just took the time to tie it nice and make it swim nice, like something Salty will be proud of. And then you start your first drift and sure enough, boom, you're stuck. You're like, the 2-ouncer.
Okay, in chat, how many people want Roman to do an underwater camera of that cable, whatever it is, of all the baits down there? Can you send the camera down for us, Roman, and make a video of that? It would get 100,000 views. No question.
Put camera on a stick, yeah. We should. The judge has a valid question. It says, can you launch from Silver Strand and kayak out to the jetty? Is it doable and would it be worth it? Like on Coronado?
Silver Strand, that's like off the beach there. So I don't think there's anything legal problems about it. I've camped in my RV at Silver Strand, and I know that I've seen people out there in inflatable boats and whatever. So I don't think there's anything illegal about it, but it's a surf launch. And that would be a journey. That's not like you'd probably, I don't know, wouldn't it be better to launch from Coronado Beach? If you're going to launch from a beach, I don't know if you can do that there too, but I think you can. But Coronado Beach would be probably close. I would say if you're going to do that, either launch from Shelter Island, that's probably your safe, or Kellogg Park. That's probably your safest bet to get over there. Okay, next up, bridges. Not many bridges. Mission Bay is known for those bridges, but we got the Coronado Bridge, and there's a bridge way up there by Spanish Landing. Do you know any other bridges? Those are only 2 bridges, right? Spanish Landing and the Coronado Bridge. I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. I like this picture. I always like to throw in a picture of
cool.
The bridge being built. Construction of the 50 million. You imagine what that costs now? I have 50 million in 1967. What's the economy now? Probably 500 million, probably.
Yeah.
A $50 million bridge began February 1967. The principal architect, Robert. It opened on August 3rd, 1969, during the celebration of the 200th anniversary of the founding of San Diego. That's pretty cool.
That's crazy.
They built that. There you go. Pillar by pillar. Wonder if there's any spotties at that time. So 1967, that bridge was built, and in 2023.
Hold on. Zach said his grandfather worked on that bridge.
No way.
That's awesome, dude.
Do you have any pictures, Zach? If you do, please send those to PB Shout-Out so we can share those.
Look at that nerd.
You said it. So there's Coronado Bridge. If you've never been to San Diego Bay, Coronado Bridge is a beautiful bridge. I recommend going across it. At the other end of it is actually a good spot to launch too. We're going to go over that. It's the Tidelands Park. Structure there, I think you're supposed to be a certain distance off that, but a lot of anglers will fish those pylons right there. Medium. I've had some luck in the shallow areas, but the Coronado Bridge, medium as far as fishing goes. Deep zones, a good thing about San Diego Bay, which is a little different than Mission Bay. Mission Bay is pretty shallow, but when I say deep, I'm talking mostly like 30 to 60 feet deep. It's not super deep, but compared to a lot of the other bay fishing we do, awesome thing about San Diego Bay is when you go out there, you decide how you're going to fish. Are you going to fish deep? Or are you going to go for the, are you going to fish the docks? Are you going to fish the grass? It's just an unlimited amount of fishing. You go down to South Bay and fish the super shallows. I'm so happy that we have San Diego Bay. It's just, you guys, we are so spoiled that we have a fishing spot where we can basically go to the tackle shop and decide on what type of lure we're going to fish. If it's going to be deep, shallow, bass. I mean, there's just so many options in San Diego Bay. It's a very unique fishery. We have this guy.
Can you go back to the picture of the 2 pictures?
This one?
Yeah. Sorry. Go back to where I was.
Okay.
Where I said, look at this nerd. That's what I meant, Dave. That's you in the background.
That right there, guys.
Hey, just kidding. All right, go ahead. Because Dave said, that's me in the background. I was like, yeah, that's what I meant, nerd. That's good.
We actually went out 2 months ago, and the MMFC grouped up. We had a no skunk day, which we're going to have another one of those where we taught everybody was going to catch a fish, no matter what. We're going to make sure everybody caught a fish. And we ended up as a group catching 200 spotties in that exact area right there. Basically that zone right there. So there's fish there, 200 spotties. Cracking yourself up.
I am. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, ask him if he has any pictures, Zach. What's up, Jared? How are you? Going over San Diego Bay.
Welcome, Roy. Hey, Roy. Hope all is good.
What was I talking about? Oh, the deep zone. So there's deep zones. You can fish the center of the bay. Just if you're in a kayak, guys, be careful. Remember, San Diego Bay is a high speed, unlimited. I think it's unlimited. They have like
Seems like it.
a tourist boat called the what's that called?
It's like the American one, like the Freedom something.
Freedom something,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't forget what I've actually been on that thing, but it is like if you're out in front of the Clam
It's so
or
fast.
the Midway, there's boats, guys. There's rich guys in yachts. There's tourist boats that are flying around. There's rental jet skis. There's everything out there. So I'm going to recommend if you're going to fish those areas, get out there early in the morning before the pleasure boaters are out of bed and fish those deep zones. But if you're in a kayak,
That's
just
right.
be careful. Right?
The Patriot. The judge got it. It is the Patriot. Yep.
Have you ever ridden on that?
No, but I've seen it. I think it goes so fast, dude, and it's huge. So it doesn't seem like it's going fast, but it's going fast.
I've ridden on it, and I went on it with my kids.
Oh my god!
I think it's cool, man. It does like 360-degree spins, and it's pretty fast. It's raced the Cool Baits Express, though. It's pretty much a dead heat.
Really?
Yeah, I got a video of it. Check out my Instagram. Brian Likes to Fish. Cool Baits Express versus the Patriot. It's a neck and neck. Actually, he's pulling on me a little bit. But anyway, so if you're going to fish those deep zones down the center channel on the kayak, please, make sure you have a visual. It's that Dave right there with the flag and a horn, something to, warn people that, hey, I'm on a kayak out here, and a rich guy that's got his yacht on autopilot going out, who's sitting back on the back deck, having a beverage, may not see you out there. So get out there first thing in the morning. That's the best time to fish out there anyway. Docks, here you go. Here you go, spotty at best. Dock fishing. So cool thing about San Diego Bay is there is a ton of docks.
Yeah.
And the other thing I like about San Diego Bay is there's docks in shallow areas, there's docks in deep areas, there's docks down south. You've got all these different marinas, and they all fish differently depending on what time of the year it is. And we're going to go over that in a minute here. But basically the docks are this. So docks are where people leave their boats at night.
That's a cool shot.
Yeah, that's Spanish Landing and East Basin behind it right there. But the docks are where people are storing their boats, and these are really hot spots for if you're spotty fishing. They have these concrete pylons that the spotties like to hide behind. And vertical fishing or dragging something around them, that's where a lot of these good spotty anglers have got a lot of their big fishes in these docks. Like I said, cool thing about San Diego Bay is we have different marinas everywhere. And just because it's a dock doesn't mean it's hot. Some docks are hot sometimes a year, and some docks are, and some docks have dinks, some docks have big ones. That's for you to figure out. Obviously, I'm not going to give up what docks to fish, what times of the year, but I'll just tell you, put your time on the water. Don't always go to the same docks all the time. Like if you're fishing Spanish Landing, for example, that picture right there, and month comes around and you catch all these awesome fish, don't spend the entire year fishing that area. Get around, explore all the different marinas in San Diego Bay, and figure out where they're at and what time of the year the big ones, if you're looking for the big ones, because they'll migrate and they'll be in different areas. So dock fishing is super popular. It's a great place to get away from in the afternoon when that wind kicks up, right? Usually just like clockwork, right about 1 o'clock, that wind will kick up. And if you're out fishing, in the jetty or out in the open, it's kind of a struggle. And if you get into these docks, it's a very good windbreak to get away from there. Remember, guys, those are expensive boats out there, and we want to keep a positive outlook on all of us anglers. If we're in a boat, if we're in a kayak, just be courteous. Don't be throwing your A-rig against people's boats or whatever you're throwing. Try to be courteous as you can. For me, if somebody yells at me about not fishing there, I'm just courteous and let them know the rules, and I move on. But I try not to get in a lot of arguments, because if we put a bad light on anglers, if you put a bad light on anglers, it's going to affect us all. So let's try to get along with these people in these docks. Normally everybody's cool. San Diego's a pretty cool place, I think. Up north they're a little more yelly up there, let's call it, but let's just try to be cool around these docks so that we're cool to them, they're cool to us.
As long as you're not hitting any of the boats, you can fish anywhere from the water. They can't tell you to leave. Okay.
Yep. And if they tell you to leave, they're wrong. They don't own the water. But just instead of an argument, just let them know that the rules and be courteous is what I'm saying. We don't want to get in a fight with all the marinas, right?
Why not? That's good.
I'll leave that up to Muto. got a lot of dock stories. I have had knives pulled on me. I have all
Oh my
kinds of
gosh.
stuff done to me on marinas. Sandy beaches. Mission Bay is loaded with sandy beaches. San Diego Bay, not so much. You go down south, there's some sandy beaches down there. You got Dink Beach, which we'll go over a little bit next to Kellogg, but Spanish Landing has a little one. Kellogg has a little one, but sandy beaches. This is a picture of Dink Beach right here. So sandy beaches, I mean, they're a good place to launch, but fishing wise, it's usually a little really shallow in San Diego Bay. Early in the morning, you might be able to get some fish in the eelgrass there, but not too many sandy beaches on Mission Bay. All right, let's start up breaking down any questions before I get into it. Now I'm going to start breaking down these zones, guys, so that you guys that are new to San Diego Bay have a good idea of where to go and what these places are called. Because if you're new to San Diego Bay and somebody says, I'm going to Fish America's Cup, you're like, what the heck is that? You can always go to Google and figure it out, but I'm going to show you some of the most popular spots. Does anybody have any questions before I get started? I'm going to take a drink here.
No, but I see a great comment from Alex, spotty at best. He says, be polite, but know your rights. If they think they're in the right, bet them $20, then they run away. That's a good way to do it. Like, hey man, I can fish here. I bet you $20.
You know, all the dock fishing I do, I probably only get hassled maybe twice a year. So don't feel like you're going to go in there and get hassled a lot. And you know what? The main places I got hassled this year were up in Newport. But I think they're pretty aware of what we're doing there. But like I said, let's just be courteous. Let's not try to get our slow pitch jig caught on their dock line. You know what I mean? I know that happens, but if you do get it, try to go up there gently and get it off. Stupid dock lines. Okay, so America's Cup. If you're looking at this Google map photo, I've circled it in red. Here's the Shelter Island boat launch ramp. Probably the most easiest way to find this is there's a restaurant here called the Bally High, and it looks like a big chef hat on top of it. When you see that, that's when you turn in right there. And this is America's Cup. America's Cup was formerly known as a commercial basin housing much of San Diego's sport and commercial fishing fleet. Small cove in the southerly of Shelter Island was renamed in 1994 to America's Cup. Do you remember when they were doing that race down here and they renamed that?
That's interesting. No.
In honor of the 1995 America's Cup races held in San Diego, America's Cup Harbor has several boatyards and marinas, private sailing yachts, as well as a mooring field. So if you ever take like a half-day boat or a full-day boat or some kind of charter boat, most likely they're coming out of this America's Cup. So that's a good way back in the back. There's some fishing back there where all the commercial boats are, but a really good fishing zone because of this. You've got docks and you've got these mooring boats right here. And if you've never fished mooring boats, basically it's a big white floating ball on the water with one of their yachts or whatever they got hooked up to it with a chain going down to a giant piece of concrete. So a popular way to fish America's Cup is to go through all these mooring balls where there's a chain connected and there's a piece of concrete down there, which is a fish structure, and there's usually holding a lot of fish down there. So America's Cup, popular place to fish. It's another picture of it, aerial of it, so you can see there's tons of docks back in there. Okay, I took this photo myself. So do you know that boat that's been out there for like, I'm gonna say 10 plus years? It's like always sitting right there, right in front of the Bally High.
Oh, did it sink?
Okay, so I was out there. This is pretty old. This is like 6 months ago, and that boat was sinking. You could see it. You know, it's 40 feet deep right there.
Yeah.
So this boat was sinking, and you could see the vessel assist guys were saving it. I had to leave. I didn't watch the whole thing, but the thing was underwater. I went back 2 weeks later. The thing was above water floating. So I don't know what's going on with that. Did anybody see that thing? Did it go totally under? But it's back. It's back.
It went up, came back to life.
It's a boat I've been looking at for years. I'm like, because it looks abandoned. I'm like, whose boat is that? What is it?
It is abandoned. It's haunted, dude.
Is that the Jolly Roger? But I saw it sink. There's a picture of it, and it's back. Yeah, it's a catamaran, right, Dave Ridge? That's it. That's the one, dude. Halfway underwater. But if you look in the background right there, there's the Bally High. There is the entrance to America's Cup. So if you want to fish there, right out in front of Bally High too. If you're used to fishing Mission Bay in the shallow grass, right out in front of there's a really nice grassy area, about 15, 20 feet deep. But sometimes it doesn't hold a lot of big fish, but there's a lot of fish in there, and it's a fun place to fish grass because you're kind of limited on the grass in San Diego Bay. But right in front of the Bally High is a good grassy spot. Oh, here's another popular spot. Oh, and if you're gonna go to America's Cup, Shelter Island is the best place to launch from there. It's not very far away from there. It's Kellogg Park. This is another popular dock fishing area right here. Here's a zoom in picture of it. You can see where Shelter Island boat launch ramp is. It's right behind there. There's tons of docks. This is very accessible. If you have a kayak, you can either launch from Shelter Island and make a journey around the point, or you can rent launch from Kellogg Beach, which is right here where this little green dot is. What's the street you park on there, Roman?
Where are we going?
At Kellogg Park.
Oh,
There's a side street where there's parking usually available early in the morning. I've never launched my kayak from there, but I know it's a popular spot.
it's the one that leads right into Kellogg Beach. So I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Sorry.
That's all right. Tons of docks in there. So if you're into dock fishing, you'll know you're in Kellogg, because if you come off Shelter Island boat launch ramp, you'll see all the police boats parked down here in the corner. And once you go in there, there's tons of dock fishing. So if you're trying to get away, if you're fishing the bait barge or out in the jetty and you're trying to get away from the wind, it's a good place to get away from that wind. This is what it looks like from an aerial. So we've got a picture of America's Cup here on the right. And you can see there's a small little peninsula right here that separates that from the Kellogg area right over here. So you can see how many docks are back in there in Kellogg. I've never fished all those docks. As many times I've fished all these docks in America, and there's so many docks, guys. So if you look right out front here, there's the Bali High. See all these mooring boats right there. I've already told you, drop on those mooring balls. And there's also, this is that shallow grass area I was telling you about. That's a fun place to fish. But if you go right out in front of it, pretty much right where these boats are at, it goes from about 20 feet to 40 feet. So there's an excellent drop off that runs all the way parallel with this shoreline. And if you fish that drop off, you know, if you have a fish finder and you're lucky and you can find some structure on it, that's a good place to do some vertical fishing. It's right along this entire drop off right here.
There's that haunted boat.
Yeah, there it is. It's right there. That's the boat. That's been there for years. Maybe we could decorate it for Halloween or something and have a MFC party on that thing.
That's awesome.
Here's a picture of the Kellogg area. The police station is right here in the corner. By the way, guys, if you ever need to use a bathroom, there's a bathroom right next to the police station. There's a public dock you can hitch up your kayak or boat to real quick, get off that, and there's a bathroom right over here. I know sometimes, you know, it's hard to find a bathroom in San Diego Bay, but there's a pretty good public bathroom right there. So if you need to use it, there you go, right over there. So Shelter Island, come around this, and that brings you right here. And this is what Kellogg Beach looks like when there's nobody on it.
That's so nice.
There's Arrow of the Beach. That's where a lot of people launch from.
Yeah, there's a street name right there. There's a street name. Go back.
I can't read that. Can you read it?
Was it? Yeah, give me a second. No,
McLovin, McSuppin.
San Antonio Avenue, something like that.
Does it say Lawrence Street?
Look at
San Antonio, maybe. Lawrence Street.
San Antonio is where we park. I think that's
there. You go. Leonard knows, or Oscar knows.
San Antonio Street. Yep.
There you go.
Avenue. Yeah. That's where we like to park.
Okay. Another popular dock area, Spanish Landing. If you don't know where Spanish Landing is, it's basically directly across from the San Diego airport. To launch there, actually, if you guys look, let me go to a different picture here. If you guys look on the top left, what do you see, Roman? Top left.
Top left. Or MFC? Oh, yeah. Let's go.
There it is. So who's responsible for that? You and Zach, I think?
Me.
You?
Yeah.
So Mad Max Fishing Club actually has on Google Maps a Mad Max Fishing Club kayak launch. So we actually are on Google Maps. If you want to get to Spanish Landing, you can just Google that. It'll take you right to the launch spot. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I didn't even know it was there, and I was looking through this. I'm like, wait, what's that?
Oh, you didn't know?
I knew it was there, but I forgot about it.
Yeah, I forget about it all the time. I forget about it all the time, and then when somebody says, "Oh, where are we meeting?" I look it up. I'm like, "Oh, that's right. I put a pin there." That's awesome.
Yeah, so right there is a nice place to launch. There's a big park right there. Usually there's pretty good parking in the mornings right there. But if you're trying to go to Spanish Landing or America's Cup, that's another place you can launch out of. It's got a bridge right here. You can hold fish, but it's got all these docks, similar to all the other dock areas. And it's also got a fuel dock right here, which the fuel dock has a little, if you need snacks, they got snacks in there. We got snacks. They got drinks, snacks. So if you forgot to bring your snacks or you ate them all, 8 a.m. before you even got to the water or got on the water and you have no snacks the rest of the day, you can pull in there and get some snacks. All the dock fishing in there. There's also some pretty good grass fishing through here. It's a pretty good fishing zone. If you're brand new to San Diego Bay and you're brand new to kayak fishing, I would recommend launching from the Mad Max fishing spot and fishing Spanish Landings. Simple. It's a 5 mile an hour area. It's easy to catch fish in there. Check that place out. Here's what you're going to look for. You can't launch from that beach though, right? That's like across from this beach right here is straight across from the airport. It's more of a sunbathing. That's where Peter hangs out.
Now that one you have to pay for parking.
That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Paid for parking. There is a bridge over there. You can fish that bridge. And this is what Spanish Landing looks like from above.
Shot, yep.
So you can see, like I said, San Diego Bay has endless. If you're into dock fishing, there's endless dock fishing over there. I've never, like I said, never fished every like Spanish Landing or America's Cup or Kellogg. There's so many docks. It's just like I get like midway through it, and if it's not good, I'm like burnt out. I don't know. I need to go back in the back section right here. See what's going on.
That's right, Dave. 4-hour limit on parking there. That's right.
Okay.
It's better to park at Farragut and then just go under the bridge. Yeah, because you have unlimited parking, unlimited time.
If anybody ever said they're fishing the East Basin, that is across from there's the marina that's on the opposite of that peninsula from Spanish Landing. And that's the East Basin. Also, a lot of docks in there. There's some good grassy areas out in front of it. My favorite place to fish, though, over in the East Basin is actually this area right over here. There's a lot of mooring boats over there. And sometimes a year, it can be really good in there. Like I said, there's lots of structure in there. There's a day where me and Salty and Muto were trolling and going through this area where we were getting double hookups. And there's a couple YouTubers that have popular videos where they fish out of there. Kayak launch, I think your probably best bet to get to this area is probably what? Tidelands? This is kind of in the middle of the bay, maybe?
Yeah, it's kind of a hard one to get to.
Yeah, with the kayak, that's a tough one to get to. I don't know if it's worth it for everybody. The fishing usually is decent there. And you got their Coast Guard right here, right out front. Oh, hold on a second. This is the Coast Guard station right out front. Some good fishing, some good grass fishing out there. You got to be careful though, guys. Right here next to the Coast Guard station, there's a little underwater rocky like riprap. This is actually a little fishing preserve or a preserve where you're not allowed to fish in. There's one. It's really hard to tell though. There's one little sign on one little post that has it looks like a fish with a slash mark through it. So there is a no fishing zone right in that little area, but all out in front of here, you're good to go. You ever fish in that area?
Yeah, and right there in front of that Coast Guard station, you can't stop there. You got to transition through. Like there's a nice little where that F is. I think it looks like an F.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just be careful around. They'll tell you to move off or to shove off.
The judge says, "What about the little boat dock right there?" I don't know which one you're talking about. There is a boat dock right here. This is the Coast Guard. You don't want to go on that one.
No, he's talking about the one right behind the actual right there. I fished there a couple of times, but it's pretty shallow in there.
Yeah, one thing about this area right in here, sometimes that green moss can take it over, so it can be pretty rough if you're fishing down there on the bottom. But so I think it's a fun place. It's if it's a huge tide swing and the tide's ripping, this is one of the big areas where there's not a ton of current. So if you have a big 6-foot tide swing, you might check that out. This is what it looked like in 1937 when they were building the Coast Guard Air Station. It's pretty cool. Look at that. It's like must be the airport. Must just be getting started then. And this is what it looks like from aerial view. This is what it looks like from the beach right there, from the Coast Guard station. So those mooring boats I was talking about right here, these all have, a concrete ball basically on the bottom, so structure down there. But those are those mooring boats I was talking about. If I was going to fish that, I would just go and I'd go right down each road, dropping on each one of those structures. Okay, the Midway area. So the Midway is, they call it that because there's a Midway Museum right here. It's a retired aircraft carrier. Never been to San Diego. It's a pretty cool thing. You can cruise right up here on a boat and almost get right directly underneath it and look up at an aircraft carrier. It's a museum. Check that out too. This area right here does have a couple areas you're not allowed to fish. There's an area by the Midway that is, I think, the Coast Guard area. So be careful if you're going to go fish in those. go to a different picture. Here we go. So there's a Broadway pier. There's a Port of San Diego pier. There's signs up there that say you're not allowed to go in there when there's a cruise ship, but you can go in there sometimes. It's really dangerous on a kayak though, because sometimes the harbor boats or whatever, the overnight dinner boats and all that are come rushing in and out of there. So on a kayak, I would definitely not probably recommend fishing those areas just because these big boats are coming in and out of there. And hopefully you're not in there when a cruise ship comes pulling in. But you got that. You got an actual pier over here too if you want to do some pier fishing. What's the name of this pier? Is it G Street? I'm not sure. But there's a pier right over here that you can fish from shore from. Gives you access to this deep channel out front here. That's what the Midway looks from above. And this is what I was talking about, this fishing area right here. There's a sign up front that says stay away a certain amount of feet if there's a cruise ship, but here's what it is from above. You can see the cruise ships parked there. There's our beautiful San Diego. Here's a picture I took at night. The Star India is parked over there. Kind of a dead zone. Okay, let's talk about Tidelands, Roman. So when we had our MMFC outing, we decided to fish Tidelands Park.
That's fun.
Tidelands Park is awesome. So Tidelands Park is basically this park right here at the end of the bridge. You can see it says Coronado Tidelands Park, and it has it's a park, so there's tons of parking, and you can launch your kayak right from the beach right out front. And if you launch from there, you have direct access right to fishing like immediately, because right out in front of Tidelands, there's a ton of mooring boats. When you go to the end of the mooring boats too, there's a big artificial reef over here. If you have a depth finder and you find that thing, I know there's a lot of good fish in there. So check out that reef. And then on the other side, you have Dink Beach, which is famous in our club for good fishing, but lots of dinks. It's like a nursery over there. And this is what it looks like out in front of Tidelands Park. There is mooring boats out there. Like I said, fish each one of those, just drop on them, cast in between them. See what you can get up in those. But this is a cool place too because it's pretty shallow. Low tide, you're probably talking all the way down to like 10 feet. High tide and some of the deeper areas, maybe 20 feet deep. So it's good cast and retrieve. Got grass over there. You got structure over there. You got a reef over there. You got a bridge over there. So if you're just going out for maybe an hour or two in a kayak, I would recommend this spot just because ease of access. Only bad thing about Tidelands. Here's a picture of it too. There's a shell right there, by the way. I skipped over that, but if you launch at Tidelands, you can get access to these docks over here too. And there's pretty good fishing on this riprap over here. But it's a cool picture of the Rady Shell. And another side note on the Rady Shell is there's a concert list. I don't know why we didn't do it this summer, but they have concerts. And if you go park right out where this boat is, right out front here, you can listen to music. Sounds really good from the water. You can see most of the stage, most of the screen. So you get a free concert from the water right there. Picture I took over Tidelands in the storm. I think was this Hurricane Day? No, it wouldn't have been Hurricane Day. I don't know. It was a storm going on. This is a bad thing about Tidelands. So if you go out in the high tide, super easy to launch. It's sandy beach. The water's all the way up to the sand. But like last time I went out there, I think that's Roman, my son, and who's that in the back right there? That's Dario, I think.
Yep.
If you don't time it right, when you come out of the water, that Tidelands, man, that tide goes down and that thing turns into a muddy mess. And if you're by yourself, it's going to be a journey to get that kayak out of there. So if you can, plan getting out of there on high tide if you can. If not, be prepared to lose a shoe in the mud. Fishing coach in the house. What's up?
Wild.
Tideland, low tide is the worst. Yeah, I know. It's I don't know what we were thinking, but I think if you go all the way to like the west part of the beach, the far left, if you're looking at it, I think the beach is a little closer to that sidewalk. I don't know. We went right up the gut, you could see all of our kayak like tire marks right through here going through. They do have a foot wash over there, by the way. So if you do have to go through that like right when you get out in the grass, they have like, I don't know if it's made for a foot wash, but it's like a drinking fountain with a foot wash down below. So you can wash off a little bit over there. There's that guy again. Okay, South Bay. So I think this is probably the most unexplored portions of the bay. When people go fishing, going south, south of Coronado Bridge is what I consider South Bay. When people go fishing, I don't even think they consider fishing South Bay. How often do you fish South Bay, Roman?
probably twice, 3 times.
Right.
My whole
And you
time I've
probably
fished here.
fished 100 times, I guess north of the bridge, right?
Yeah, that's just
Now, why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? I'm just curious.
because I can't find a good launch. It seems like the launches are. I'm not familiar with that area and
Mm.
just lazy to go explore. But then
I'm,
I don't feel
I'm
like I
gonna
have
show
that
you
much
some launches.
variety either. You
Yeah,
gotta commit to something there, you know?
with South Bay, there's a closer picture of it. With South Bay, this place can be a little sketchy, guys, especially if you're in a boat. It's deceiving. It's super wide. It's like, I don't know, 2 miles wide, maybe. It's really wide.
Yeah.
And when you look out over it, you think, oh, if you're familiar with the rest of the bay, it looks nice and deep, right? But if you're in there during a low tide, it's deceiving. Some of these spots are 2 feet, 1 feet deep, 3 feet deep, 4 feet deep. But if you can look at this picture, you can see some of these shallow areas, the light color areas, and then they actually have a channel. I think this is marked with channel markers off here to the right hand side here of that is. I think they've dredged it, and it's a deep channel. So if
Oh,
you're going to
interesting.
come through here in your boat, try to find this channel if you're trying to get back to Back Bay. If you go in low tide in this area, you can ask Muto. First time I took Muto out of let him captain my boat. He almost ran it ashore. So you got to be
Nice.
careful. You got to be careful out there with your boats, guys. It's very deceiving. It'll sneak up on you too, because you'll be running in one of those channels, and before you know it, you're looking at your depth, and you're 2 feet, 1 foot, alarms are going off. You're like, what the heck's going on here? But it's hard to tell. Fishing wise over there, I've been trying to get a leopard shark over there forever. There's some, I guess, more exotic fish over there. You got some leopard sharks that live in there, smoothhound sharks that live in there, a lot of stingrays. There are spotties back there. Caught lots of spotties back there. There's tons of grass. Shovel nose guitar fish are back there. If you're looking for, something that's going to put up a really good fight in the bay, shovel nose guitar fish, just throw a piece of squid out there in one of these deep channels and just bait and wait. And you'll have your hands full with one of those things with a bass setup. Those are back there. I've never done this, but if you go way back, I'm sure Coach would tell you there's bonefish back there, and there's a whole style of fishing those. I've never done that, but kind of feel like I want to, but I don't know. I hear it's shrimp, so it's not really my style of fishing. But have you ever fished for bonefish back there?
Nope. No, it's not my style.
Look at this picture. You know what would be cool is if they could put a bridge right here and open this up. Can you imagine what would happen? Like how would it change that fishery? All that fresh water going in and the fish that could come in right there.
Yeah, because it's kind of dead up there, huh? It just
Yeah,
seems dead.
South Bay a lot of the time is a little more polluted than the opening. Obviously back there, a lot of stuff settles to the ground. It's been back there, it doesn't settles back. So if you catch fish back there, I don't know if I'd eat too much out of the South Bay. There's usually like warnings not to swim, etc. back there. It's kind of, but the fishing back there I think can be good. It's shallow. Me and Kevin went back there last year when we did the Savage Gear drop. Was that a year ago, maybe October a year ago, and we were fishing, all the Savage Gear back there, and we probably caught 25 fish in 2 hours. So there's plenty of spotties to be had back there. A bad thing about South Bay too is when the wind kicks up, there's nowhere to go, and that place it gets windy. So if you're gonna fish back there, go out there early.
I think that's what gets me the most.
The wind
is that once it goes south, like you can't really do anything but head back.
Yeah, you want to get out there, crack a light, and it can be fun back there, though, guys. There's a place called the Coronado Cays. We all dream of maybe one day hitting the lottery and buying a house out there because you'd have your own dock. But in the meantime, we just look from our kayaks or boats and dream of all those houses back there. But you can go in there and fish the docks. I haven't had too much. One time I fished a Ned rig that I was forced to by somebody. That's where I caught the Ned rig fish.
See?
Somebody's like, you need to. And then within 6 casts, I got my first Ned rig fish back there. So there are spotties back there. If I was going to target like smoothhounds, stingrays, stuff like that, more common back there. But there is spotties back there. I've never heard of anybody catching like a monster back there. Maybe they exist. Maybe nobody fishes back there. Maybe there's a monster in there. I don't know. I need to go check it out. But I've never heard of somebody going to the Coronado Cays and pulling in like a 16-inch fish. But somebody needs to do it, right? So somebody needs to cruise back there. But there is some areas you can fish back there. This right here is way back in the south. It's Chula Vista Marina. So if you're going to launch back there, we found this out with our club. That marina I don't think opens till 8 a.m. though. I think it's like a private marina or something. But we planned on launching from there first thing in the morning. We got there and it was locked up. So I don't think that opens till later. Check the hours on that. But Chula Vista Marina, full of docks. I've caught spotties in there. You can launch a boat. You can launch a kayak. This gives you easy access to the most southern portion of the bay. So check out Chula Vista Marina.
Shout out real quick. Sorry to interrupt. Shout out real quick to Mr. Brad Riney. What up, Brad? It's been a long time, dude. Hope all is well. He moved, I think, to Texas. Are you back in town or are you just chilling watching the episode representing Texas chapter, MMFC Texas chapter? Welcome, Riney.
Welcome back. Okay, so there's another dock a little further north of that called Pepper Park. You can see it's got boat launch. It's got, that's where we actually launched from. Do you know that right here, right in this dock right here, right now, the seized like Russian mega yacht, the United States seized, is parked right there.
Oh, what?
Like you go down there, it's parked. Yeah, it's solid down there.
Seizing assets like that.
I had to see what the heck it was because it's this huge mega yacht.
That guy thought
parked
he was
right next to Pepper Park.
That guy thought he had a boat. He thought he had a boat. Shoot.
Maybe they'll auction it off and our club can buy it. I think it's like probably, I don't know, $200 million boat. Maybe
awesome.
we all pull in. Cal can pitch the money in. Oh, guys, hang out. We got PB shout outs coming up. We're almost done with the San Diego. If you have any questions, but we got PB shout outs coming up after this.
Also, since you guys are here watching this awesome stream and this awesome presentation that Brian put together, there's some breaking news that's about to pop into the screen. When you guys see it, be ready. Okay, this is only gonna happen once. So
what?
Here we go. We're popping in. Breaking news happening right now. Breaking news. Right there it goes. All right, keep going.
Zachary says he's got $30 towards the yacht. Yeah,
let's go
together. Auction that baby off. Probably cost us. I don't know if we could fill it up with gas. I can't imagine. That thing probably holds more than 100 gallons.
I've been looking at solar power boats.
Whoa,
there's some really nice ones out there. Anyway, it's like they're catamarans with like kinds of solar panels, and it's all like works on electricity.
Oh yeah, what's that? Your apocalypse boat in case you have to bail out to be able to self-sustain out there in the ocean.
Unlimited juice.
Yeah. Somebody said, is that the E Street? I'm not sure. I think that's Pepper Park. I'm pretty sure that's called Pepper Park. That's what I know it as. Pepper Park.
Cool.
Okay, here's a picture that I took of a mega low tide in San Diego Bay South. Now, this gives you a good representation that, see these channels right here? That's the only places you can go in a boat, and you got to be careful about that because you get stuck out here. And my last photo, that's my second to last. My last photo is of this guy. So this is the same day. Oh. And I was out there on my boat. It's touch and go on my boat, and my boat only has a 16-inch draft. It can go in pretty shallow water.
Yeah.
But this guy, right? You can see his head down. This guy, I think, was stuck there he got stuck, raised his motors, and the tide's going down and down and down. And if that happens to you, he's got vessel assist there, but there's nothing they can do. You are basically there until that tide comes back up to where you can either get your boat dragged off or you can start it up and drive away or pull it off yourself.
Gosh.
Like I said, guys, especially boaters down in South Bay, be very careful on those low tides because that tide could take 6 hours before it comes down and back up, or even longer than that. So you may be stuck there for a long time.
Yeah, bring a lunch.
Yeah, that poor guy. Alaska tides. Yep.
Very nice.
Make a sandwich and a ride out of it. What?
Make a sandwich and ride it out.
Yes, it's Pepper Park. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, guys. Is there any questions about San Diego Bay? I try not to give up exact spots. This show was to show some of the people that are brand new to San Diego Bay. Most of you guys in this chat have been fishing San Diego Bay for many years, but this video was made for the people that may be thinking to visit San Diego Bay or brand new to San Diego Bay and have heard all these spots, but they have no idea where they're at. It's a very basic intro video to San Diego Bay for you guys that have never been down here and are looking where to launch and where to start spotty fishing or bay fishing. So I hope you enjoyed that. And with that, Roman, I am going to move on. I'm going to exit my screen share, and then we're going to preview shout outs. I'm going to keep in my screen share.
Yeah, very cool. I'll just announce
1
it.
minute.
And I'll get this PB shout outs button ready. All right, I think I'm ready. Co-host split.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Take me a second.
Leonard says, "Thank you, Brian, for not showing my secret spot."
I was so tempted, Leonard. But of course, I'm not going to blow up anybody's spots. Yeah,
Rick says, "Thanks for the info."
I'll show general areas, but guys, it's your job to go out there, put time on the water. All these guys that are in chat have been doing spotty bowl for years, and they've earned these spots, and they've worked hard for those spots.
True.
So I don't mind giving out general areas like docks, beaches, and all that. But if you want to actually compete with these guys in spotty bowl, you've got to go out there and put time on the water. You got to figure out where they're at, when they're there, what baits to use. That's the game. If somebody just took you out and showed you exactly what to do and fish, it'd be a fast track. But I think in the long haul, you'll be a better angler if you figure all this stuff out yourself. All right, we ready? Wait, hold on a second.
You ready or not?
No, almost ready.
All right.
I've been struggling lately to get my wife's attention. So I just sat down, got comfortable, and that did the trick.
That's actually true.
Yeah, yesterday, you ready? This is going to go on for a while. I was going to mix this in, but, I got talking. And, yesterday I bought a really expensive laxative from the pharmacy. And it gave me a good run for my money. Wow, lately, I always keep a picture of my wife and my kids in my wallet. That way it reminds me why I have no money in it.
That's a good one.
The other day, I told my wife that she needs to embrace her mistakes. And so she came over and gave me a hug. It keeps on going. My wife always says, she says, she really wanted to know why I wanted to be cremated. And I told her it's probably the last chance I'll get to have a smoking hot body. and then right after that, I'm so sorry that, just this morning, this weird thing happened. This morning, I was standing naked in front of the mirror. And I thought, I'm going to get kicked out of this IKEA. All right. Thank you, Leonard. Those are supposed to be sprinkled in, but I got talking about bait fishing. So let's go to PB shoutouts. You ready?
We've seen you out on the water. They say you fishing harder. I guess we'll find out this week on our PB Shoutout!
Let's go. That's Cal up front, double fisting. Let's go. We need a new picture, you Cal. Send in a double fisting picture. That's the way Cal does it. Cal's on PB Shoutouts tonight, by the way, guys. So if you don't know what PB Shoutouts is and you want to be on PB Shoutouts, send me, Brian Likes to Fish, on Discord or Instagram a picture of anything. I'll put it on there. Fish, tackle, kayak, boat, whatever you got. Send me in a picture. Peter 6, though. You take it easy, Peter. Take it easy on those pictures. All right. First up, we got a project here.
Oh, that looks awesome.
Zachary Riggs wanted to show off his weekend project right here. He says, "Hey, Brian, hope all is well in your world. It is Zach. I'm going to Mexico in a couple days, so it's great. I built myself a kayak cart this weekend with storage. Thought I'd share it on shoutouts. I still need to add the tubes and the poles for storage. She rolls on rocky gravel like a dream."
That's
nice job there,
perfect.
Zach. So
I'll
show you a couple pictures.
Is it the same height as the back of your truck?
Oh, that's a good point. It looks like it.
It's perfect. You don't even need your wheels at home.
Kayak. Yeah, it looks like it's just about the exact size of it. Push her right in, right? Easy lifting.
Can you make me one?
I'm sure. There you go. There's a picture. You can figure that out.
No.
Plywood's not the cheapest thing. That's OSB, by the way. Not the cheapest thing anymore. 2x4s. Looks like go to Harbor Freight and get yourself some inflatable tires. Good job there, Zach. And check this out. Fits perfectly.
Oh, that's perfect. I those
that's there for extra storage.
The
Good
totes
job,
did it.
Zach.
Perfect, dude.
Looks like he's got the right stickers on there to make that thing go fast too. He's got some Mish Fishing, Cool Baits, Mad Max. All right, let's go.
We need a Street Fighter. Perfect.
Good job on that, Zachary Rigg. Next up, this guy right here, single fisting. That is Cave Dog in chat. That is Cow. Cow starts out with Dear Brian.
Oh, hold on. Do we need inspirational music?
No.
All right, go.
No, it's not. It's not one of those judge stories that goes on for 20 minutes. But I do appreciate, starting out like that. Thank you. It says, Dear Brian, I went out on the Grande out of H&M Landing on Tuesday to chase after tuna. Unfortunately, there was no tuna for me. Dang, Cow.
Damn.
What kind of fish is he holding there? Let me figure this out. Is that a yellowtail?
No, it's a Dorado.
What? Why is it so gray? It must be. Oh, I know what. Bite was pretty tough, even though we were fly lining baits. Probably because the red tide was visible on the way out to the Cortez bank. Luckily, when the water did clear up and the kelp, and I could see kelp, threw down a few baits, and the Dorado came up to play. I got Mexican limits, which is what, Deuce?
2, yeah.
2. Got Mexican limits. I used my 20-pound and 40-pound and 60-pound setup, pulled 2, farmed 1, and landed 3. That's that right there. Some boat talk.
It's good.
I've never heard that, but I think I have an idea. Pulled 2 means he caught 2. Farmed 1, does that mean he gave 1 away?
No, he missed it. Like he probably pulled the hook out or like gave it too much slack and it came off. Farmed it.
And then landed 3. I prefer to bounce my rat Dorados, so no gaff needed. That's right, Cal. Bounce that baby. I bounce all my fish. 65-pound tunas, whatever. And there's a picture Cal gave us of it. Looks like cruising out of the bay, maybe.
That's cool.
So cool. The Dorado are out there. Next up, we got TB Metal Art Todd heading up to the mountains. Look at that, man. He's like a grizzly Adams going on there. You got a beard going there? That's what you do when you go out. And this is cool. This is the description he gave me. Just playing in the Sierras. Sweet, simple.
Nice.
So Todd looks like he had a nice vacation up the Sierras. Looks like he got himself a trout. Look at the beautiful background. Looks like he got on a hookup bait too.
Yeah.
But look at that beautiful background. Man, I gotta get up there. Todd, what were you fishing from? Give me no information, but you fishing from shore?
Maybe,
looks like he had waders.
Yeah, waders on, yeah. Float tube?
Next up, one of the big hitters. What's that?
Can you float tube there?
You're asking the wrong person about the Sierras. I don't know the rules up there. Have you been to the Sierras?
No.
Okay. I don't want to.
Oh,
Oh, he's fishing the Outback kayak. Outback
okay,
kayak.
good. What's fishing Outback? Very nice.
That's another picture of Todd here. If you guys don't know who that is, TB Metal Art. He made all the Spotty Bowl belts. He makes all the art in my house. You know what? Next PB shout out, Todd. I'm gonna take a picture of every piece of art you've made me, and put it on PB shoutouts because there's a lot. My whole house is decorated with Todd. Pretty much, he's my interior decorator.
You say yes, a lot of
Just
float
so
tubers. Interesting.
Oh, okay. Lots of float tubers up in the Sierras. Is
Todd,
it cold?
If you guys want to check out Todd's work, his new website is toddburtonart.com. You can see it in the chat. Just click it, and you'll be on your way.
Next up, this guy. If you don't know who that is, that's Aaron Kruger right there. And what? He's not holding a spotty like normal. He's got some kind of weird fish he's holding out there. He says, Cast Queen invited me to go out on the producer today. I got a 50-pounder. Hold on, let me switch pictures here. Bam! Aaron Kruger holding a tuna. That's crazy. Congratulations,
that's awesome.
Aaron. Awesome. Invited me out on the producer. I got this 50-pounder on a muskie rod. Heck yeah.
That's awesome.
That fish dumped a full spool of braid off my Komodo 300. Yeah, that's a bass guy, man. Coming out with a Komodo 300.
And
fishing
everybody on the boat hated him.
No.
Yeah.
He liked it.
How long did it take?
Hey, man, not everybody owns a fancy, giant tuna setup. We got to fish what we got to fish.
It's true.
He got himself it on the Komodo 300. It's my sand bass setup / 50-pound tuna setup. For all that fish that were caught, we were fly lining sardines and using a St. Croix Mojo muskie rod. That's, I think, a Bass Pro Shop rod. And an Akuma Komodo 300. It's my sand bass setup, but that's all I have. So I went out there. Yeah, what the heck? I went out there, and it's just like to use my own stuff. They said they saw fish, and before the day was, I got a couple of these Dorados in the 20-pound class. I definitely found out real quick though that the reel he's holding is outgunned for what was out there. Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, in the bays, that 300 size reel, you're king of the world, But I think once you get out there to those 50-pound fish, those pelagic fish that, take off real fast, you figure out that maybe it's not the best reel for that. Yeah. But hey, it landed you some Dorado, got you a tuna. Says it was using 80-pound braid and a 4-foot piece of 30-pound fluoro leader. Congratulations. Good job on that. There's Cast Queen out there. That's a beautiful fish right there. Look at that thing. Cast Queen's got a pink reel, a purple reel. That's pretty nice too.
Oh, cool.
Look, must be custom. So
that's awesome.
Guys, guess what? Tuna and Dorado season here. They're out there. Next up, this guy. If you don't know who this guy is, that is Muto. Got a show like this on Thursday night, Submission Fishing Code. Check out Muto. Muto says, went out of Dana Landing looking for tuna. Didn't see any boil, so I headed to Catalina. Is that a journey from Dana Landing to Catalina? What's that, like 17 miles? No.
Not bad. You could totally do it on your boat, Brian. Let's go.
Yeah. All right, let's go. I found a rock pile about 150 feet of water, ton of marks down on it. Dropped the Submission Fishing Javelin 220-gram white knight and got slammed the second pitch. Fight was good. Yeah, those big yellowtails, man. My biggest yellowtail is only 28 pounds, I have to say it. I'm not like a yellowtail fisherman, but that 28-pounder, man, that thing, they put up a fight. I'll tell you that. Took it slow because I was on a super light 100-gram tight pan low pitch rod. Had to periodically point that rod straight at the fish just to use the reel for the fight. Gaffing it by myself was a challenge, but I stayed calm and took my time and obviously landed that thing. Congratulations, Muto. That's a nice fish. Doesn't get any specs, but I'm going to guess.
That's cool.
I'm going to guess 32 pounds. What do you think?
No way.
No?
32 pounds?
Muto, if you're in chat, how big is that thing?
He's got his hand. He's got his hand around the fish.
22 pounds? I don't know. I'm not good at yellowtail. Barely even know what one is.
I'm not that good at yellowtail either. I'm the worst at guessing weights.
And there it is on deck. Maybe I'll give you a little. There's a jig he caught it on.
Oh, she looks big.
Congratulations.
Oh, it's so hard to tell with these fish.
It says I'd say 22 pounds. Okay. All right.
Okay. I can give you that.
Now that I look at it like that.
Because his hand was holding like not the base of the tail, but he's holding it a little bit higher. That's what I was
15.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's a killer fish. We'll take it. Next up, we got this guy, saltwater bass fisherman extraordinaire, heading on up to fish for trout. If you don't know who that is, I'm going to go to a different picture. That is Chad. Look at that smile. Of course he's smiling like that. Look at that fish right there.
Nice.
Chad at Hookup Baits. He says he has a report for you on my trip to Lake Oregon last week. Cool. That's a journey up there. Looks beautiful. Him and Todd, man, that's beautiful spots. I got to get up in one of these places. I've hit this lake twice on my boat, and we did good, but I knew if I ever got the opportunity to fish this lake on my kayak, I'd crush it. The opportunity came last week. Fished it 2 days. First day, I caught 27 fish. Jeez. Wow. The second day, I got 18. The majority of them were native wild rainbow trout between 5 and 12 pounds. Hard fighting. Yeah, that thing.
Yeah, see, if that thing's like 12 pounds. So Yoke said that maybe Muto's yellowtail is like 15. Dave said 22. I'm going to go with 15 or 16. But because this is like 15, right?
It doesn't say. He says he caught them between 5 and 12. Doesn't say that specific fish. Okay. These fish love the 1/8 ounce hookup baits and green pumpkin, brown chub fished on 4 to 6 pound lines. See, that's the thing about trout fishermen. You get that gigantic parabolic rod with that really light line. Man, that's a lot of fun. That's my kind of fishing right there. That is some fun stuff right there. That's some of the best trout fishing I've ever had. And I do a lot of trout fishing, so I guess it says something. I got it all on GoPro, and we'll be putting out a video soon. Check it out. Check out Chad at Hookup Baits. That looks good. We got a big smile. There's another one. Man, those are good fish. Let me get up there. Looks beautiful, too. Let's go.
That's a nice one.
Okay. This weekend, I went out with Salty Dangler. We went hunting for the tuna and Dorado. And guess what, Roman? No tuna, no Dorado for us. Oh. We did jump into this gigantic. Have you ever been out on the water to where there's so many macks that you can smell them? Like you pull up and fish are like something's going on, and all of a sudden you smell it. There were so many Macs. I decided, hey, I'm gonna throw out the A-rig, and I was getting like 3 at a time, salty danglers, roping it. I mean, we've been searching for hours, so Macs are pretty exciting to us. These are big Macs. Only thing we saw while we were out there, guys, our fish report is we saw 2 Dorado jumping, and then we could not get anything to bite like that tuna or Dorado. So we headed back in, and guess what? The old faithfuls came in, and we started calico fishing, and bam! So
dude,
our pre-fish.
Still bright out. You should have been out there still fishing.
What's that?
It's still bright out. You should have been out there still fishing.
Oh yeah, we were fishing. We didn't stop. We went in and we fished around for some calicos. Calico bite was pretty good. Pre-fishing for the SBS tournament. So
okay, cool.
the bass never let me down, Roman. That's why I love them. So bass fishing out there. And I wanted to take this picture right here because I'm leaving for Rancho Larinero in a day or two. 2 days, I guess. This is the way I'm going to try to catch my rooster fish on a kayak with a topwater popper early in the morning. This is my bucket list fish. I hope, guys, when I come back in 2 weeks on Wednesday, my PB shout out will include me and Roman holding up, and the judge and the Eric Klein holding up our trophy fish. Hopefully it'll be a good PB shout out. So I hope I get my rooster fish. Hope everybody gets the fish they're looking for. But
Very
there's
nice.
a picture of one. There's my target. I'm mentally picturing that. That's probably similar bait that I'm going to try to get it on.
So good.
And that is it for PB shoutouts, Roman. I'm going to go ahead and exit my screen share.
Very nice. Super cool. Stay tuned, guys. We're still going to have PB shoutouts.
We just did PB shoutouts.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah. Sorry. We did PB shoutouts at the song.
Yeah. So
never mind. Go away. I was kidding.
Hi, guys.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, Biggins. I was thinking Biggins. We'd have had the splash ready.
Oh, yeah.
We don't do Biggins anymore. Oh.
Spotty Bowl Biggins is over.
It's over. Not till.
Yep, that's true.
We do Spotty Biggins, but
We'll come back with some Biggin photos. Get a 70-pound rooster. Get a 70-pound rooster. Says
no,
Todd.
I don't want it. I want like the medium.
No,
I don't want the big
70
ones.
pounder.
I'll be totally content with like a 50 or less.
70-pounder.
You're crazy. 70 pounds on a kayak. I'll try. I mean, if I hook into it, I'll try. But I prefer 50 or less.
Very nice.
All right, guys. If you used to watch the show a long time ago, there's this thing I used to do called movie reviews. Remember that, Roman?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Until the judge was like paying basically for me to stop doing it. But you know what? I think the judges came around. Judge hasn't been to a movie since the Michael Keaton Batman back in 1989. He doesn't go to the movies very often. So when I talk about movies, he has no interest. Yeah. So it all ended the original Batman. After he saw that, he's like, that's the last one. So he's never seen Star Wars.
Oh, I know. That's crazy.
I don't think he's ever seen Indiana Jones. I don't think he's seen Lord of the Rings. There's never seen The Dark Crystal.
There's so many good Star Wars things right now. Oh, are you caught up on Ahsoka? Was it Ahsoka?
I'm one episode. I've watched the first 3.
Me too.
The first 3, I'm giving it a. It's not. It's not Mandalorian, but it's not. I don't know. They're still building.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
I liked it.
Where it goes. You liking it? Okay.
Well, let's get into the review so we can talk about that too. Go.
Okay. First off, movie reviews. I'm gonna usually review 80s, 90s movies, but this week I saw an awesome movie in the theater, so I wanted to review this to give it a huge shout out. Back in 1997, a video game came out called Gran Turismo, and I remember getting this video game, and it was like you could select a specific car, you could fine tune the tires, you could add an exhaust. It was like all these options to where you could earn stuff and make your car better and better, open up tracks. Do you remember this game? Did you play that game?
Oh yeah, we played with our friends all the time. We used to race each other.
So this game was super popular back in the late 90s, and they've done many versions of it. I haven't played the new versions of it, but I'm sure they're awesome. But back in that time, this was a huge game, by the way, Gran Turismo. This movie poster for it. That Nissan came up with an idea of taking these simulations, because Gran Turismo lately has gotten so, exactly how the car handles, the suspension, the acceleration, the braking, all that. And Nissan decided to have a competition with all these simulator drivers to get the best top 10 in the world and take those simulator drivers and put them in actual real race cars and see if they could translate what they do on video games over to a real race car. And this is based on a true story.
That'd be kind of like trying to take me with my Street Fighter skills and put me in a real fight and watch me get my butt kicked. I'd be like, oh, no fireballs coming out. Uh-oh.
So I'm not going to spoil anything about this movie. But so they take these, I think, top 10 gamers from around the world, put them in real race cars, and they take them to this camp, and they see if they can do it. And they race each other, and the top driver that was selected from the top 10 gets a racing contract, or gets an opportunity to earn a racing contract with Nissan. So if you're a video gamer, this is like every video gamer's dream, right? I've played thousands of hours, and now it's finally, I want to show everybody that it finally pays off to play video games, right? Because in this story, there's a dad that's kind of like down on this kid because he's always in his room playing video games. Like, what is he gonna do? Get out there and play soccer. And he's like, I love video games. And basically he's
I'm not you,
trying
Dad.
to show him.
Don't tell me what to do. What up, Cal? Welcome back.
So I've given up the plot of this. I'm not going to tell you what happens.
Oh, don't worry. They know what happens. Just
it's an unbelievable movie. It has a Legolas from Lord of the Rings is in it. Orlando Bloom. So he's a great star in it. If you watch Stranger Things, it's got Hopper. He's the pit crew chief. He's in it. Does an awesome job acting in it. It's got a new and upcoming actor that I really like that played the star in this movie. Did a great job casting this movie. If you go see like a sports movie like Rocky or something where it's just an underdog story and it's like emotional and you just want the person to win so badly, that's what this kind of movie is about. And at the end of this movie, the entire crowd that I was sitting with cheered and laughed. And when the movie's over and the whole crowd like basically cheers, it is a great movie. I'm going to highly recommend if you have kids, teenagers, or just yourself, whatever, take them to this movie. This is a great movie for everybody. Very motivational. You come out of there thinking that you can do anything, that you can accomplish anything if you put it to it. It's that kind of motivational movie, like Rudy. It's that kind of a motivation for me. I came out of that thinking, okay, this year I'm not going to lose Spotty. That's it. I'm going Gran Turismo and Spotty Ball.
That's awesome.
Super inspirational movie. Zachary Riggs, I'm going to totally agree with you. 4 out of 5 max. Go see Gran Turismo. If you can, see it in an IMAX theater. The visuals, the sound, the car racing is unbelievable in this movie. Motivational movie. 4 out of 5 max, Roman.
Wow.
Go see
very nice.
Best movie I've seen in the theater this year.
Wow. That's cool. All right. Let me do one.
Yeah.
I watched with a fam a couple weeks ago. We watched Blue Beetle. And in the theaters, we watched it in IMAX.
DC movie, right?
Yeah, it was actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. It had good acting, it had good special effects. It's a superhero storyline, right? But it was really actually funny, and it was a good. Overall, I think it was a good movie. I think it's for the kids, and we enjoyed it. We were laughing and had a good time. It's been a while since
Marvel and DC kind of have that formula down with music and comedy and superhero. One thing I'm going to say about that, though, is I've seen so many of those movies in a row. I do enjoy all Marvels. Yeah. I do them all. But it's really a very similar formula. You know what I mean?
It is.
So I enjoy all the special effects and the characters. But going to Gran Turismo, you kind of forget like how these well-written, well-acted kind of emotional movies are. And when you see that, you're like, oh my God.
Are you saying George Lopez is not a good actor?
I like George Lopez.
No, he's hilarious in it, dude. You gotta watch it. It's a funny movie.
I will definitely see that movie. Probably not in the theater, but I will see it when it comes out on Peacock or whatever.
All right, what's the other movie?
That was my only movie. It took me so long to review. I can remove movies all night long.
Reviews, not movie review.
If you guys want to see a really good Western, one of my favorite Westerns, probably my favorite Western of all time, stars Emilio Estevez.
Young Guns?
And that is Young Guns. So
that's a good movie. It is a good movie.
To me, if I talk to somebody and they have not seen Young Guns, it almost makes me angry.
Do you walk away?
I'm like, oh yeah, maybe a punch to the gut.
3.8 out of 5 for Blue Beetle. Zach. Yeah, that's a good. That's a good score. That's a good score.
I think he's saying that for Ninja Turtles. I just saw Ninja Turtles.
All right. So
you haven't seen the Barbie movie yet?
No.
That movie made a ton of money. So back to Young Guns. If I'm going to review an older movie, Young Guns, Emilio Estevez, unbelievable movie. One of my favorite Western of all time. Basically, it's about a rancher that's having problems with some guys, so he brings these outcasts into his ranch to protect his cattle. and these young men that are hired to protect his cattle see this guy get murdered basically, and they go to the sheriff and he won't do anything. So they try to get these warrants and go after the people that murdered Mr. Tungsten, and it leads to a massive manhunt for Billy the Kid, and it makes Billy the Kid a legend basically. And let's just say at the end, it's pretty exciting. They get locked up in a house, and it's really hard to get out of it. See if you see that movie, they may or may not get out of the house. But
Yeah, you gotta check
Young
that out. It's a good
Guns.
movie.
Did you see the size of that chicken? Young Guns, my favorite Western of all time. It's one of the only movies that I'm going to give 4.5 or
Really?
5 max. Young
Dang.
Guns 1. If you
Westerns?
see Young,
Have you seen 310 to Yuma?
I have.
Is it 310 to Yuma? Yeah, 310 to Yuma. That's a good one.
That's a good one too. But if you see Young Guns 1,
Yeah,
definitely
Young
see
Guns is
part
like one of
2.
the
I think it's
originals.
almost as good.
Yeah,
I love all the characters in that. Doc,
yeah.
Chavez. Ah, so good. So good. Anyway, guys, so me and Roman, I'm going to end it for my movie reviews. Thanks for humoring me listening to my movie. I love to go see the movies. I love 80s and 90s movies.
If you want to
But
watch,
me and Roman,
if you want to watch one of the most inspirational movies you're ever gonna watch, one of the most motivational movies that make you get off the couch, start training for next bodybuilder or training for your next battle, go watch Bloodsport. One of the best movies ever made. And then with
1 or 2, 3 or 4.
Bloodsport 1. And then when you're done with that one, go watch Kickboxer. Because it's going to teach you the ways that you got to work hard and get your skill up before you go into battle. Go ahead.
How many times a year do you watch?
I watch it every day.
And guess what, Roman? With that being said, I'm ready for my Rancho Leonero vacation. This is what I wear, by the way. No shirt underneath, though, while we're out there.
Nice.
Oh, and by the way, we're sharing rooms. Watch out. I suffer from night terrors massively, so be ready. But, guys, me and Roman are going to be out there snagging grass, catching bass. We'll see you in 2 weeks with a report from Rancho Leonero. We'll see you guys when we get back. Later, guys.
Taking Brian out with a round of applause from the live studio audience. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Brian, awesome show. If you guys have any questions regarding the information Brian shared today, hit us up through Discord. You can see in the Discord we have a Fishy Hour questions section. Put your questions there, and we will make follow-up episodes answering those questions if they require a whole episode. Shout out to Yoke, Leonard, David, Zach, Alex Alex aka Spotty at Best. That's a coach in here, huh? Dave Rage, Todd over at Todd Burton Art, Carl Black. Let's go, Carl. I saw Salty in here earlier. Salty dangling in the house. Arnie, what up, Arnie? Oscar 636. Cal. Oh yeah, Brad, Ryan, thanks for coming in, dude. Glad to see you again. I'm glad to see you again in here chilling with the boys. Got Submission Fishing Co. in the house. Make sure you guys watch Muto's show tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over on the Submission Fishing Co. channel. We got the Judge just for tuning in today, Judge, and it's gonna be a blast this weekend. So I'm super excited to be fishing with you guys. Colton in the house. Colton, thanks for tuning in today. I hope you found all of the stuff to jump into the MSC Discord server. It's a pretty chill place. Come hang out, learn from everybody else, ask your questions. It's all good. Shout out to Jared for tuning in today. Shout out to Ralph Aguirre. What's up, Ralph? Nice to see you in here. Shout out to, I think I got pretty much everybody. If I missed you, I apologize, but it's the way it rolls. Oscar, I got Oscar. Yep, I got. We'll be back here. What is it? The 20th, right? We'll be back here September 20th for another episode of Fishy Hour, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we'll be talking about the pickle run. Okay? So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys on the 20th. May the bite be with you. Woo! Okay.